Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Big Finish animation Real Time with the 6th Doctor and Evelyn Smythe. Now, this was one of the 4 animations that was done by Big Finish. I believe it was Big Finish that did all of them. Prior to the modern series coming back in 2005, with Real Time being the one that came out in 2002, about a year before the Scream of Shulka. There were 4 of these done, as I recall, Scream of the Shulka, of course, being, I think, the final one. You also had Real Time, you had Death to the Doctor, which I've reviewed before, and then you had the 8th Doctor version of Shada, which I have watched and listened to as well, and reviewed on the channel as well. Now, I actually own Scream of the Shulka, and I actually own the Paul McGann version of Shada as well. It's actually on the US version of the DVD release of the 2017, which technically we got it in 2018, version of Shada. I don't know how well you can see that. I don't know how close it is to the camera, but yes, the 2003 webcast version with the 8th Doctor was included on the American DVD release. I own a lot of versions of Shada. I have the US DVD release, I have the UK Blu-ray release, I have the limited edition season 17 set, and eventually I want to get the season 17 standard version of it down here as well, because, well, if y'all haven't caught on yet, I'm a big Doctor Who fan, especially classic Doctor Who. But Real Time was the only one I hadn't watched yet. I'd forgotten about it. I'd meant to watch it before, and I stumbled onto it. A fellow Who-tuber, Dalek, who actually has all 6 parts of it up, and he has AI upscaled them. Actually, I think episodes 2 through 6 he remade, actually. It's really impressive. Really, really good work. The animation looks fine. It is that flash animation that, of course, I'm familiar with, having watched those other 3 stories we talked about. I like the artistic style the animations take. They're very easy to follow. I like the little movements added in with them. They're a good watch. The story for this one is really good, with a cliffhanger that really made my jaw drop. Is there a sequel to this story, just out of curiosity? Does Real Time have an actual audio sequel? Because, wow, that ending. I really like the story. I like the performances. Colin is really good. Something about Colin just really seems like he matured as an actor, and he is so good in Big Finish. Just the way he does his lines. There was one time when one of the Cybermen basically says, you know, our goal became to capture you, and he says something there. I can't remember what it is, the line he says, like, oh, well, I'm delighted, or something. But the way he says that line, I absolutely love it. I like Evelyn Smythe a lot. The actress voicing her is really, really good. I like that she's like an older one. She's not like the traditional, like, 20-year-old companion. I like that about her. And she's got sass to her, which I really like. She's got a lot of sass to her. I enjoy her. And she has a really good conversation with the Cyber Controller, too, at one point. Kind of asking this, because the Cybermen are in this, and they're the main antagonist. And she has a really good conversation with the Cyber Controller. Yeah, but, you know, don't you remember who you were before you were the Controller? You know, when you had dreams, when you had... It's a wonderful back and forth between them, actually, that I really enjoyed, actually. I thought it was really well done. It gets a bit brutal in places. Early on, when one character steps through this, what is kind of a portal, let's just call it a portal for the sake of convenience, and then immediately comes back out, basically partially converted into a Cyberman and under cyber control, with the Doctor explaining, you know, it might have been almost instantaneous for us, but with the time differential, because they're not just moving to a different place, you're moving to a different time with this portal. You know, they could have been over there for months or years. So seeing them immediately come back out, turned into a Cyberman. And the cyber designs are pretty cool in this. You have the actual designs of the Cyber Controller, which is a cool design. I tend to like when animations and stuff do neat things with Cybermen designs, like that animation you can find on YouTube that's like 12 to 15 minutes long. Most of you have probably seen it. I always love the designs of the Cybermen and that. They're really, really neat. and how they use proportions and designs in a way that live action can't do. So some of the stuff they do with design levels here is really good. Also, a lot of the Cybermen in this story are only partly converted. They're not fully converted into Cybermen, even though they're still under cyber control. They're only like half converted, which looks kind of horrific, especially on the body. When you look at the manipulations done to the flesh on the bodies, it's a bit horrific. And it's interesting how that does play a plot point later on. That's actually explained toward the end of the story why that's done. It's a really neat plot point, actually. But it also gives us the graphics of them looking more humanoid, much like how the 10th Planet Cybermen are a little scarier because they're not as far removed from being human as, say, later Cybermen, where they look more like robots almost, whereas the 10th Planet Cybermen, you can tell these used to be people. It's kind of like that. You can tell these used to be people. I really like that design choice and how they tie it into the story. It also has, I can't pronounce the actor's name. The guy who played Lee in the TV movie with Paul McGann, it has him in it as well. Of course, he's playing a different character. He's not playing Lee, but he's really good in this. When I saw his name in the credits of the first episode, I was like, I knew that voice sounded familiar. And the character he's playing is really neat, because you don't really, he just strikes you as kind of a regular character at the beginning, but as the story progresses over its 6 parts, you're like, it keeps, you figure out there's something up with him, but what's going on with him, and it slowly peels that away like layers of an onion. That gets really interesting. You have that one character that you're just like, crap, this fucker. Doctor Who, especially like classic Doctor Who and modern Doctor Who, there's a lot of times where, great, this fucker. That one person you're like, I just hope something bad happens to them. It definitely has that character in there, the one who's kind of, just think if we could get this back to Earth. Oh, the money and the power, Yeah, that one. Maybe we can cut a deal with the Cybermen. Yeah, that's going to work really well. I really like in the animation when the actor who plays Lee, his character in this, when he's recounting the history of the Cybermen to other people. And while he's explaining, you actually it shows him talking, but in the background you see the pictures changing of what basically looks like footage from the older episodes. You see the 10th Planet Cybermen, the moon base, the wheel in space. You see a lot of pictures of them, and it actually looks almost like shots from those iconic episodes in the background. It's just, the animation for that looked really good. It looked really, really good. I made a note of it as I was watching. I was like, I really like how they did that. That was really well done, as he's explaining to it. And then he also gets a chance to really raise his voice at the end, which I liked. He has kind of a confrontation at the end, the character. And the actor, again, who plays Lee also in the TV movie, does a really good job when he gets to raise his voice and kind of let loose his fury, so to speak. I really liked his dialogue there. Again, I really like the 6th Doctor in this. Big Finish does a really good job of molding the 6th Doctor into such a cool character. It's like he doesn't inherently change the 6th Doctor's character as he channels the 6th Doctor's energies properly. Like, you give him proper scripts where he's written better. Like, he still has his arrogant, full of himself moments, but they're channeled in a way that reads better, if that makes sense. Where it's like some of his qualities that you might not like about him are done justice in Big Finish. And some of his qualities that you wish he had more of, it's really hard to explain. But if you listen to a lot of the 6th Doctor in Big Finish, you'll know what I'm talking about. It seems like they channel his character really well to where he's a much better character, but at the same time, he doesn't feel like a different character. It really does that well here. I really, stories like this really make me appreciate the 6th Doctor more. And Colin's performance in the role more. That's one of the highlights of the story. And again, I like Evelyn Smith a lot. I keep wanting to call her Evelyn, but the story keeps calling her Evelyn. Maybe that's a British-American thing. I don't know. I keep wanting to say Evelyn. But the voice work is really good in this. And the ending is so good. The ending, I don't know if you've ever seen this or not, but if you haven't seen it, go see Real Time. It's a really fun watch. Again, Dalek Who has all of the episodes uploaded on his YouTube channel in a playlist. You can watch all 6 of them. They look great. Check that out. Before I go into spoilers about the ending, check that out. Are you still here? Okay, that's your spoiler warning. Now, the ending is really neat because basically everyone gets killed except the Doctor and Evelyn at the end. The cyber controller, the Doctor's having to basically get out with Evelyn, which sounds too much like evil to me, before, everything explodes, blows up, yada, yada, yada. And, of course, the guy who also plays Lee, who at this point is the only other good guy left. Everyone else either been converted or killed. Although I do like the fact there's this one Cyberman who wasn't fully converted, who was questioning what was happening, who actually was trying to kind of rebel against his programming. That was a pretty cool note I want to point out. And the guy, I cannot remember his character's name. The guy who also plays Lee, because I cannot remember his character's name in the story. I suck with those things. He's fighting the cyber controller at the end, and they end up fighting each other while the Doctor and Evelyn leave. But at the end, right before the explosion kills them, after he's killing the cyber leader, he takes the mask off the cyber leader to realize the cyber leader, who's been orchestrating everything since basically the beginning, is Evelyn, whatever. It's like a future version of her that had been converted into a Cyberman. And the guy who, so frustrating, the guy who also voices Lee, who plays Lee in the TV movie, had learned from someone else before that person died, the fucker guy actually, who did one good thing at the end, that she had been infected by the virus they'd been talking about, because there was this stuff about the virus talked about earlier in the story, that she had been infected. And the fact the Doctor gets away without finding this out. So you're kind of in this grandfather paradox or bootstrap paradox, where you're almost worried you're caught in a loop, where instead of breaking the loop, this is just the loop playing out. It's an odd ending, because they talk at the end about going to like 1927, which of course Lee's character talks about. That's where he's from. That's where everything went wrong, or that's where it started to go wrong. So it worries that instead of solving the problem, they're about to lead into the problem. It's a really good ending, actually. It made my jaw practically hit the floor. I didn't see it coming. So when he takes the mask off and it's her face there as the cyber controller, I was like, and then the little dialogue between past her and the Doctor at the end, I'm like, huh, okay, interesting. This needs a sequel. I don't know if it ever got a sequel. If it ever did get a sequel, somebody please tell me what it is, because I want to hear it. I know she's in other stories with the Doctor. I don't know how her time with the Doctor ends, or if it ever had a proper ending, or if they just stopped doing stories with her. Y'all can tell me. Y'all probably know more about that than I do. But if this story needs a sequel, because that was a heck of an ending. I like that ending a lot. I was like, cool. This was really good. It's really hard to rank these 4 stories. This one would probably be, if I was ranking the 4 stories with the Flash animations, it would probably be Death to the Doctor at the bottom, which is still good. I like all 4 of them. Scream of the Shulka in 3rd place. Real Time in 2nd place, because I did really enjoy it. And then the 8th Doctor version of Shada in 1st place, because I actually did like the 8th Doctor version of Shada quite a bit as well. So I want to know what you think of Real Time. Comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon. Check that out. I want to give a shout out to one of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney. I appreciate his support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. I also have links to the Amazon wish list down there, links to the Amazon UK wish list. If there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review, like some more of these standard sets, I would love to get. And most importantly, thank you for watching.